this meeting to order. Doing so as the county manager, because we will be doing discussion and nomination today. Welcome to the meeting. It's good to see this large crowd out tonight. Sarcastically said, no. Folks, I just want to remind you to turn off your mobile device, silence the devices, and I'd like to start out by asking Commissioner Blevins to open us up with the invocation.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you again, Lord, for another day. And Lord, we are very grateful that we can gather here today to do the best that is possible for our county and the citizens in this county, Lord. As we've said before, Lord, let the decisions that we make tonight be pleasing in your sight as we move forward through trials and tribulations, Lord. And I just thank you for all that you give us, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
All right, I'd like to ask Commissioner Masters to pledge allegiance.
Salute pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind everyone of the ethics and awareness and conflict of interest policy. I want to remind you on that, making sure that you do not have any conflicts of interest. If so, and you see some, feel free to bring those forward. With that said, at this time, I will open the floor for nominations for Commission Board Chairman.
So, do I? Number 6.
Oh, so I'm going in, okay. So when I bring this in, I'll go in after the adoption of the agenda, right?
You just go, you keep going until you get to 9.
Okay, got you, thank you. Yeah, I see that now, sorry.
It's okay.
All right, is there any additions or changes to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. You're a Harley Masters with a motion, Lee Ellis with a second. Agenda is adopted. We'll go on next with the approval of the minutes. The minutes to be approved are the November 3rd, 2025.
Sorry, David, I think we have to vote.
For
Approval of agenda.
Oh, sorry. We adopted it, but we didn't approve it. Okay.
You just need to vote.
I don't do this, but
No,
once every so often. Yeah, so at this time, I'd like to get a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Or to approve the agenda, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you just need to vote. You're good.
Hey, this work help me along here. All right, moving on to the approval of minutes. Right now, we're looking at November 3rd, 2025 and November 18th, 2025 regular session minutes. Have you reviewed those? If so, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion. I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? All in favor? All right, we're moving along now. We're getting back on our game. All right, for the November 3rd, 2025 closed session minutes, do I have a motion that we approve the November 3rd, 2025 closed session minutes?
I'll make the motion.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion passes. All right, now moving on down here, at this time, I will open the floor for nominations for Commission Board Chairman. Do I have any nominations for board chairman?
Before I make my nomination, I would like to take a point of privilege and say that electing the chairman, for anybody in the audience that doesn't know, you don't have any more power than any other commissioner, because we still make decisions as a whole as the board, but an effective chairman has very good communication skills. And so over the past year, the person that I would like to nominate, I think has worked his tail end off. He's worked harder than any other commissioner I've seen in my time. Whether we've agreed or whether we have disagreed, he has still always been respectful. and allowed there to be communication. And with my nomination, I would like to nominate Dale Blevins because, first and foremost, if Jeff, Steve, and I don't go back onto the board, this gives you a year to really get things under your hat. But I would love to see you as the chairman because I think that you are fair and equal with this entire board and you always communicate, and I think you represent Mitchell County.
Thank
Very
you,
good.
but I don't know if I'm mature enough yet to handle that.
You have one whole year to get it under your belt before you, because then you will be the most seasoned. No pressure, but then that is the reality of Jeff, Steve, and I don't go on. You and Lee are gonna be the most seasoned. And this at least gives you guys,
Well, I was gonna reelect Jeff Hardy. It's gonna be my
there's 2 nominations.
nomination.
Okay, I hear a nomination for Dale Blevins and I hear another nomination for Jeff Hardy. I think we'll do a polling of the board. First, all in favor of having Dale Blevins for commission chair, raise your hands. Okay, seeing one vote. All in favor, 2 votes, okay. All in favor of Jeff Hardy for board chair. I see 2 votes. All right, what do we do here?
We got a tie.
We have a tie.
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, we'll have to do another vote. If you guys want to have a discussion before that time, you're more than welcome to do that.
Okay, so anyone wants to have some more discussion, we're gonna have to get us a chair out here today, so
I voted for Jeff. Purely because Dale told me he'd kill me if I voted for him.
Well, he didn't tell me. There was no previous conversation. I voted with my conscience, so.
He told me that, I don't know, some time ago, but seriously, he said, I don't wanna fool with that right now.
They'll also support you if that's a seat that you wish to hold. If you don't want to do it at this time, I understand that totally. Doesn't understand and hardly understands what the extra work is.
Mhm.
There's a lot to it.
It's, yeah, but
And I'm already sitting on team committees, including DSS and commission. It's part of the 10. That's a lot. And I'm having to learn to say no to that.
So I'd be willing to go along with whatever the 2 of them agree to, that are out with you, Harley.
I think everybody votes their conscience.
all right, I'm gonna bring it back up for a vote again. So it's time. All in favor of Dale Blevins for chairman, please raise their hand. All right, seeing 1 vote. Harley Masters, all in favor of Jeff Hardy for board chair. I see 2 votes, so Jeff. We don't have is a no vote?
No vote is a yes vote if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Okay,
But I mean, it's for like, it was a no for both of them, so where would you count the yes towards, between those 2? So,
Then can you vote for yourself, County Attorney, just for the record, is that correct?
you can,
You can't.
yeah, you can vote for yourself, and you can also, withdraw your name from consideration if you want. But there's no, that's a part of
And
it.
I do want to say thank you. I am flattered and honored that you think that much, that I have that much already in my backpack that I could do this right now, but if this were next year and we did it, I would probably say yes. I just feel like I need 1 more year before doing this, because I'll have 2 more after this one, next one coming up, so. But I am honored, Harley, that you think that much of a responsibility for me, and I really appreciate that. For the record, please.
I'm seeing 2 votes for Jeff Harding as chair. I'm seeing 1 vote as for Dale Blevins for chair, and then I have a no vote from Commissioner Hardy, which, the no vote counts as a yes, but as a yes towards who?
Exactly, and this does require a majority vote from. This
I need to
whoever's-
vote on this to make it happen. Unless, if Commissioner Blevins was to withdraw his name from consideration, then we could vote.
So I can't do that, right?
According to the attorney,
Yes, you can.
I'll just withdraw.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, Commissioner Blevins' name has been withdrawn from consideration. Therefore, there will be a vote here for Jeff Hardy as commission chair. Do I hear a vote for Jeff Harding? Okay, got two, I need three.
Okay, I'll vote for
Okay,
myself.
there you go, three. So,
It's just complicated.
Jeff Hardy is now board chair. I'm gonna turn this over to you. That three vote has occurred. And, we'll move on to 9B upon Jeff taking over now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We will now accept a nomination for the vice chair for the Mitchell County Board of Commissioners. Do I have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Steve Pittman.
Okay, are there any other nominations for board chair? If none, Steve Pittman is the only one been nominated. Do I have a vote to elect Steve Pittman as vice chair? 4-0 vote. And now we'll move on to 9C, the board organization appointments. Y'all will take the time and look at the boards that you're on. See if anyone wants to change. Go to another board. I talked to Steve today. And he is comfortable with the.
Steve's good with all
board.
his.
So, Harley, you want to keep the ones you have, you wanna add, you wanna drop, or you good?
I'm good with all mine.
Okay, Lee,
I'm good with mine.
I'm good with mine.
okay, for board, organization appointments, will stay just like they are. Okay, do we have anyone with public comment tonight? Lee? Gall Street?
I don't know the answer to what I'm gonna talk about, but over the years, it's becoming a big problem. And dog control is the issue. I'm gonna show you a picture, and this guy's working with animal rescue to give these dogs away. And you can look at these dogs and you can tell these dogs are healthy. But would you want this many dogs at your neighbor's house that's coming over to your house? Now, we're not taking a complaint on this, but this is something that Mitchell County is facing if y'all pass that around and see. We talked to the man and Animal Rescue did, and he's surrendering a lot of them, but just imagine if they're coming over to your house. We've got a person that lives off of Fort Mountain that's probably got 25 German Shepherds. You know, they're getting loose and they're running down to the neighbors. They killed a man's cow a few years back. They're scaring the neighbors. Well, the problem is we've got the vicious and dangerous dog statute, but vicious and dangerous dog, not dogs. Okay. If you've got 25 German Shepherds, how can you tell which German Shepherds went and attacked the cow or the child? We've got a trailer up on Herman McKinney Road. I bet they got 7 big dogs. Every time you drive up the road and down the road, the dogs is chasing your car. They're eating at your tires. They're jumping up on your car. And they bit the neighbor. 2 of their dogs did a few days ago. Our determination board has determined the dogs to be vicious and dangerous. I've not heard back from them, and I'm getting ready to do the paperwork. If they don't appeal it, I'm gonna do that probably tomorrow. But we've got that going on. We're facing those issues so much, and we're not just getting one dog. We're getting groups of dogs, and something's gonna have to be done before one of these dogs kills somebody. And, you know, you hate to be the sheriff and tell people, well, there's nothing we can do, but there's nothing we can do. That's the decision the Board of County Commissioners is gonna have to take. Now, as sheriff, I'd hate to see that we had to. There's a nuisance dog. You could get into something like that. But you know, if your dog's is barking, you know, you got a pack of hunting dogs, 10 of them, they're put up good and they're barking their head off. You know, that's life. You know, we're out in the country. You gotta deal with it. But if your neighbor's dog keeps doing stuff and he keeps getting wild caught on them, you know, I mean, there's an issue. I mean, and it's not easy. I want you all to realize the problem that we're having. And at some point, y'all's gonna have to do something.
Now, let me ask you a question. Didn't we several years ago have a discussion about the same thing and I believe it was David LaPlante, one of your officers, David hadn't been employed too long.
David can investigate animal cruelty.
Okay,
That's North Carolina state law. That's easy to investigate.
okay.
But you see, we're talking about things that North Carolina state law doesn't.
I can't remember exactly
Yeah.
what we did for that, but I remember him being appointed, that was his position.
So Donald, the person that's dog attacked somebody, did they have to pay the fine that's dictated by general statute? Do you know off the top of your head?
If they're declared vicious and dangerous dog, you know, that is part of the criteria is bit somebody while off their own property. You know, that doesn't go to court. That goes into like the determination board to determine whether that dog is vicious and dangerous dog. If they appeal it, then it goes into the vicious and dangerous dog appeal board. That's 3 private individuals appointed by the Board of County Commissioners that sits in the sheriff's office and decides whether the dog is vicious and dangerous. Now, after that point, they then can appeal it to Superior Court. I've never had nobody do that yet, but I mean, there's no place in there for a fine. Now, you could sue them civilly for the dog biting you, but the problem is that if somebody don't have nothing, you ain't gonna get nothing in court.
So do they still get charged with a misdemeanor though?
What would be the misdemeanor?
It was just in the general statute about the dangerous dogs that the state has. I didn't know.
There's nothing there on that until after they're designated vicious and dangerous. Then they can be charged with something. If your dog that's been declared vicious and dangerous bites somebody and causes $100 worth of damage, $100, let me back up, causes you to have to go to the doctor and your treatment cost is over $100, that is something. Allowing your vicious, dangerous dog to run at large to bite somebody or something, there's that statute there. You've got to be designated before you can actually do anything. You can't go to the doctor without getting $100. Yeah, you can't go. My advice would be to maybe look at some other counties. Look at what we have and see what they have and see what we go from there. Because I'm gonna say, at some point, somebody's gonna get killed. And
What do you think could be enhanced with the state statute to make it more effective?
I don't know if the state can do it. I mean, they leave a lot of this stuff up to the county.
No, I meant like, what could the county do to enhance on the state statute from your perspective?
Well, it wouldn't be enhancing. Okay, I see where you come. I think something about were a nuisance of dogs. We don't want to go to the dogs barking, we're gonna be ran to death. But just where they're running around and aggravating the neighbors and there's constant calls coming into the sheriff's office about your dogs. Maybe if we get so many calls that then it could create an ordinance that we could enforce with something. You know, we could get witnesses to how many times they've called and everything. We might have something there.
That's first one's got an ordinance.
They've got a leash law.
Yeah. Animals either gotta be on a leash, it can't run loose. then close that.
Thank you all.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
do I have a picture back?
It's right here.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir. Okay, we will now move on to reports and presentations, and, I'm very honored to talk about the, first presentation. The gentleman sitting to my right, our county manager, was recognized at the High Country Council banquet. So on October the 10th, the High Country Council of Government held its annual awards ceremony at Appalachian State University's campus to recognize outstanding achievements and contributions by elected officials, local government employees, and advisory committee members. The High Country Council of Government is an regional organization dedicated to serving and supporting local governments in Allegheny, Ashe, Avery, Mitchell, Watauga, Wilkes, and Yates. Mitchell County Manager Alan Cook was recognized as the 2025 Outstanding Local Government Manager in the High Country region. This award acknowledges the contributions Cook has made to local government through his professionalism, leadership, and accomplishments as the county manager. And this speaks very highly of him. This is just off the cuff from me. Every elected official that was sitting in that room could have got this award because of the storm, because of their work. And Alan was nominated. And awarded this, which speaks, Alan, very highly of what you have done as our county manager in a very difficult time, overseeing and leading very good employees, county employees, because it was all a team effort during these times. We look and see the work that has been done as far as you're the brush guru, but as far as cleanup, stream cleanup, our two towns have responded. They're not back to 100%. Our communities have responded. So, and you know, all of this is under your direction and your leadership. So at this point in time, I don't know if you knew we had this hidden back here. Deep stone it. Well, she bought it. She didn't steal it. So it basically says Alan Cook, outstanding local manager, and 2025 for distinguished services and contributions to professional management in Mitchell County and intergovernmental cooperation in a High Country Council of Government rating. So it is my pleasure, sir, to have you have that. Even we're 2 months behind, but other things sort of got in the way that we couldn't do this. So I'm gonna ask everybody to step down here in the front and stand up to the county manager and get your picture made with it, because this is an outstanding, sure is, accomplishment. All right. Still right here in front of the bird.
Well, I'm gonna say I've had a patient board. I've had a good group around me, good finance manager, Lloyd Heiss, Glenda, had a good executive suite, a good clerk. It's all a result of having great folks around you, good sheriff, got good staff. So thank good Lord that he saw fit for me to get it. But I'll say this, it's been around this board's been very patient with me and helped me get my feet under me to get learned up on it. So I really do appreciate it. Appreciate the board.
Well, you've earned it.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now move on. We've not done board reports in a while because of some things got a little bit in the way, so we'll now have board reports. Mr. Blevins.
Okay, I'll be quickly on these, but I'll go back to Mitchell County Animal Rescue first. Which we met October 14th and October 11th, since we talked last. The board has hired a new director, Katie Elkins, and she's up and running, and she's already working on some grants and different things for the shelter. We discussed some issues earlier about the current Mitchell County Animal Rescue building. And the funding that they have found, and through a lot of donations especially, they have completed their new roof on the building, and this week they are starting through the state requirements on those broken. Remember, they talked to Alan to us at the board meeting about the kennels being cracked and not being state approved. And today they began the inside and outside kennels on refurbishing those floors and sealing them. The shelter is closed this week because most of the animals, they did a big adoption over the week before Thanksgiving, and they about adopted out every animal they had in there. But the ones that were left, the neighboring shelters are keeping them until after this week, until they can reopen again. They also did a Friendsgiving on the 25th at Spring Maid, which was, the board brought different things, which they honored, the veterinarian assistants that helped them, anybody that had anything to do with the board in helping keep these animals up. They honored them with a Friendsgiving meal on November 25th, which was a big success. The Spring May Pavilion was full. So the shelter's really doing well right now. They're really moving along, and I think they're kind of letting their breath out now that they have a director that can kind of guide them through. So moving on to Freedom Life, October 23rd, November 3rd, November 12th. On the 23rd, the whole entire council, and that is every representative from Mitchell County, met at Bear Creek Community Center. That included law officers, DSS, home health, employment resources, housing, transportation, EMS, all of our directors for transportation, EMS were at that meeting. As Jeff and I were there at that as well. And it was good to see everybody coming together to be one group and one resource for this county, for these folks that are getting ready to come out into society. And then, of course, we had a regular meeting, executive meeting on November 3rd, November 12th. We had the joint state council that Jeff and I both attended at Mayland Community College at the Sam Center, and it was full. And all these state representatives were there, and representatives from all over the state were at this joint council meeting with Freedom Life and the Department of Corrections, and that was a big success. Business Park Committee, we've met October 15th, November 12th, and November 19th, and progress is going great, and everything is moving right on schedule. Thanks to Bill Slagle for all his coordination and efforts that are being done on this business park. It could have been done without his guidance. So everything's moving very well with that. And October 23rd, did attend the town hall meeting at Bowman. Main discussion, of course, debris. Was it not, Alan?
That was the big one, yes.
The big one.
Always.
But it was good. It was, a lot of people got a lot of answers, and it wasn't Alan having to tell them, well, they're trying to do this, and he had other representatives there that were in charge of this debris removal now that gave a lot of information to some folks that maybe were a little impatient, but I think they left satisfied that evening. November 19th, I attended the Rural Transportation Authority. And this one's real, we have some really good news for Mitchell County. It was, once again, Mitchell County was in the spotlight at this meeting on November 19th in Boone. And I did mention to Harley already, the sidewalk project that she had started and was working on had originally was going to be started in 2028. And, with the discussion, and I think when David came here, Alan, when we took him around in August and showed him that and how long it was gonna be, and from the meeting we'd had before, I think he kind of started pushing the state a little bit to move it. So, I told Harley and called her when I got back and told her that it is now being moved to this coming May. They will start in May of 2026 with a completion date not to exceed December 2027. And what is happening here with that is in May, they'll start their contractors, finish any right of ways they have to do, and then they should be beginning it. So that's really good news. Major school road inspection was brought up in that meeting, and what happened with that, they had just mentioned it. The guy that his name is Matt Quisenberry, I believe. He is over the state feasibility unit study. He had mentioned this. And David looked at me back then, he said, yeah, we have one representative here from Mitchell County on that, and I raised my hand, and he said, we'll talk shortly. Well, it turned into being a group meeting at the end after the regular scheduled meeting. So David Graham and Megan Phillips, who is the NC Board of Transportation, on the NC Board of Transportation, Matt Quisenberry feasibility unit study, Doug Phillips, the NC DOT 13 division manager and engineer, we all met on the progress of the Ledger School Road intersection, the one that we did a resolution on last month. Wasn't it last month we did it? Yeah. And here's what's been done so far since we turned in that resolution last month. Traffic count has been completed, the accident history has been completed. The construction site feasibility study and cost materials has been completed. So it's all in, I guess it's a quick design, it's not a stiff. It's a quick design, and but as of November 19th, no formal day or price tag on starting has been done yet.
They give any specific numbers on the traffic study? I'm just curious how many.
No, he did not give me, Doug Phillips did not give me any information on any of that part that they completed. And so then we went on to the last thing that I had come to Alan with, and Alan said, you know, he had advised me on some things to do with this guardrail study on Highway 261. And if you're not familiar with 261, it goes to Rome Mountain from Bakersfield.
Pumpkin patch.
Yeah, so we talked about, two of the bus drivers that drive that road every day. They hug the edge of that road going up the hill. And it scares them. So, I told them we would see what we would do, and I went to get some advice from Alan, and he gave me his advice. And so then I moved it on to David Graham at Rural Transportation Authority. And then we got this other fellow who's another division engineer from Division 13 and Division 1. His name is Chad Young. They will be starting to study this very soon, which consists of, as Alan had told me before, the traffic count, the accident study, so forth and so on. But Chad Young told me, who was there at that meeting as well, he said the account that a school bus is running up that road, two different school buses, will push the study up quicker. So, but they've got to look at the accidents, like Alan told me, the accident report and the traffic, but they are going to start a feasibility study on guardrails for that. And the last thing they are doing, and I didn't know they were working on this until Doug Phillips had showed me, and I've got all this chart, if anybody's interested in looking at this chart with bridges. I won't go into that, but Mitchell County is this chart this long and half, 3/4 of it's all Mitchell County. So on new bridges and bridges that are being repaired and so forth. He informed me that they're doing new rumble stripes and 6-inch long life pavement markings will be installed from Spruce Pine to Bakersville on Highway 226. And those, I assume those rumble stripes are those things like you have on Cox's Creek, where you go down the mountain, and if you get over on the white line or the yellow line, you start making the. But that is in the proposal to be started very soon. I didn't know that. So, and I assume that because we were running out of time and everybody was breaking up and leaving and, the, 6-inch long, pavement markings, maybe those are those reflectors, is that? I'm not sure, I should have asked him what those were, but that's gonna be installed from Spruce Pine all the way to Bakersville on Highway 226. And, they are looking at one more thing, rerouting the paint. Eventually, they haven't looked at it yet, but where the right lane ends on the 4-lane from 226 going to Ledger. If you come to a stop and you turn off to Ponder's Trucking, and you have a dump truck turning to Ponder's Trucking, and you've already merged into the left lane like the sign tells you to do, then you have to bow up and stop because the dump truck stopped turning. They're looking at that study as well. So that's future stuff. So lots going on with highways and bridges and stuff, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Ellis.
We had a rec board meeting, in November. All the coaches for, the winter sports have gone through their safe sport training and agreed to background checks. Having, good participation at the rec center. A lot of folks are using, I do know they've hired a part-time person, are still looking for a few more folks, but they're really pleased with the, new part-time gentleman they have on staff. And I know we're gonna talk about, the members in the items for discussion. Also had a chamber meeting, in November, and a couple of highlights. There were ribbon cuttings for the rec center and law enforcement. There was an opening of a bakery in Spruce Pine, Taste and See. They assisted with the 10th ECU dental anniversary school, and the chamber attended the reopening of Peterson store last month, I should say as well, and they hosted their annual membership dinner at the golf course in November. The EDC did not have enough for a quorum at the last meeting, and I had 2 meetings tonight of the fire department meeting. I don't know if you.
Yeah, we had a good fire department, yeah.
I don't know if you could share about that meeting. I didn't follow up with you.
Yes. So the fire department meeting basically, worked with a lot of the grants out there right now, plus my fire was major, talking going season. Basically just getting reports from everyone, ensuring readiness. It was a pretty standard meeting, low key meeting. Usually sometimes they're not low key, but this one was.
Good. That's all I have, Chair.
Let's see, our most recent meeting was the library meeting, and we met on the 20th in Avery County, and the board worked on the job description for the director and discussed when we plan to advertise, which will be this month, and we'll advertise for 6 weeks, see how many applicants we get, and then proceed forward with interviews in hopes that we have somebody hired by March 1st so that they can start the budget process this year. And then Spruce Pine did hire a new branch manager, and then with the way AI is changing and everything, we did agree to review the internet policy yearly just to make sure that that stays up to date. As far as extension, the extension director and I attended the North Carolina A&T Grassroots Conference, and we are working on some long-range planning ideas with the Strategic Planning Council. And as far as the TDA, Director Jones has still been working on Marion Mitchell and the new Elevate Mitchell branding plan. She is planning a lodging meeting for January so that she can have all the short-term rentals come together and discuss some ideas for 2026, and then she did tell me to ask if you guys have any events that you want on the calendar for 2026 to please reach out to her via email or text. And let's see, the last thing I had on here was an NCACC update. I took a quick trip to Washington and was able to meet with several representatives up there alongside of a few other commissioners from here in Western North Carolina and the NCACC staff. We were able to meet and talk about debris being the main important thing. But then we also spoke heavily on how the counties really need to have their money coming in from FEMA. And then I was a very big advocate for them to, when they have these FEMA discussions about how they're gonna revamp FEMA, that we need to make sure that counties still have a seat at the table, because we are the front line, whenever disasters hit. And so I want to make sure that the counties always still have a voice at the table so that we can make sure, our counties are taken care of. And then also while we were up there, we did do a screening of the documentary Rising Above Helene. We shared that with the NACO board, and that was with some commissioners all across the state. Met one really nice lady from Arizona. She has to drive 6 hours to get to her commissioner meeting because her county is so big. So that was, I got a little tickled about that. So, the last thing is I am trying to schedule a screening for the documentary to be showed here in Mitchell County. So I don't know if that'll be in Bowman or if that'll be at the historic courthouse, but if you guys have any specific dates that do or don't work with you, please let me know so I can get that facilitated with Chris. So, but that is all I've got.
Thank you, Harley. I talked to Rocky Buchanan today. He told me because he sits on the Rural Transportation Board about the sidewalk from Mitchell High School to 226, which is huge. And he said, in his opinion, it was bumped up because DOT wants to talk about safety issues, and that was a huge safety issue. There's much traffic, foot traffic goes up and down that street. I was able to spend about 15 minutes at Dr. Boyd's fall social, because I had a fire association meeting that night, which I could not attend because I had a Toe River Health District meeting at the same time. So I had to pick and choose which meeting I went to. Mason's doing a great job with the district. Mitchell County is catching up to speed quickly, quicker than Avery County on inspections. Mason has been able to hire and put on staff environmental health folks. So we're increasing our numbers there. The problem with that is the state of North Carolina requires you to work under somebody for 2 years before you can go out in the field and completely do it by yourself. But at least we're getting applications and hiring people that appear that they want to stay here. So that's a huge plus, because your small counties compete with larger cities, and then it gets into a financial situation, which of course we can't compete, guys. Like Dale, I attended 3 Freedom of Life meetings. The large meeting was the statewide meeting in Malin, which was huge. That we got the folks from the reentry teams from all over the state to come to Western North Carolina. And that's the first time. The governor's wife was there and spoke very highly of this. It's a great push across the state for this to happen, because you're assisting and helping that individual that's been incarcerated come back out and get back to a regular life. And there are a lot of steps and things that they have to follow to stay in the program. So I'm very excited about that. Was able to attend Blue Ridge Regional Hospital, 70 years of operation, which, they had some old pictures and current renovations that had gone on. That was very impressive. See that they did time capsule that'll be opened in 30 years, which none of us will be here, of course, to read or see what's been said. And I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, the ribbon cutting at the recreation center, ribbon cutting at the sheriff's offices. I think we should all be proud of both of those facilities. They're very nice and had a meeting, got to meet with Chuck Edwards at the Quartz Corporation. And, asked some questions and, the talk there was, we need, debris. We need our money. They grant funding for small business recovery.
In the parkway.
Yes, in the Blue Ridge Parkway, which was a major push. And he addressed where it goes. I don't know, guys. You've got 49 other states battling for what they want to. So, it sort of is a process. And, that's about it. So I think everybody has had a very busy situation. So we'll now move on, items for discussion, 12A, opioid plan discussion. When we touched on this briefly at our last meeting, sort of asked you guys to prioritize or, on that list, A that it gives us to pick out. So has anybody got a chance to do that?
I wasn't clear on how, I wasn't clear on exactly how we, as a board, determine that. We just come back and make recommendations and then vote on it.
We've got Brandon here, and he'll go through the process because it is sort of a process, and he'll do that. The two items that I picked out would be, number 3, recovery support services, and then number 12, reentry program. So, we've got 3 groups now in Mitchell County that would fit both of those categories. You've got Freedom of Life now, you've got the Hope House, and you've got Bear Creek, recovery out here. And all those work in this, and I'm gonna let you explain it, Brandon, but we send the material to the state approves, correct?
So I reached, I'll never know what the correct verbiage is there. I reached out to Corey and C, who's kind of responsible for, the implementation. They work with local governments to give guidance on the usage of opioid funds. And, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And so they got back to me. Basically, what you guys need to do is decide which one of the strategies, I guess, that you're gonna use from, you just have to go with option A, because that's what we initially went with. And then, once you kind of narrowed it down, I think you would need to look at agencies that can meet those strategies. It sounds like that, Jeff's interested in number 3, recovery support services, and I think that Freedom Life, I've heard it mentioned, would fall under item number 12, maybe 2 reentry programs, so we might need several of those. But you guys kind of just need to decide, which one of these strategies you'd like to fund. And then once you kind of narrowed it down to who can meet those strategies, I think you would ask them to draw up a scope of work,
Presentation.
yeah, maybe a presentation. But once, so you might want to have better not first do a presentation, but once you decide who to go with, we'd have them draw up a scope of work. And then I would get with Core and we would make sure it fit that strategy. And then there's some other like procedural things that you need to do. As far as like passing I always get the verbiage wrong, the spending ordinance.
Right, we have to do a spending ordinance once Core approves it.
There's a contract that Core has. It's kind of a template for working with a sub-recipient that we need to get done, and we may want to do like some sole source stuff, but we if you decide who kind of, the first thing is deciding which one of the strategies I think you want to use, who can meet the needs of those strategies, and then see if they'd be interested in drawing up the scope of work, including some funding, what it would cost to implement that strategy, and then we could go from there.
And I believe two things made us, we can determine the dollar amount when we choose the program that we're gonna fund or programs.
Mhm.
That money is not distributed upfront.
It's quarterly, yes, yeah.
And they have to come back and bring a report.
Right, they're in
Saying
the
the following, they have done this, and this. And if it's okay with the board, this board, before I forget to mention, I would very much like to invite the representatives from Mitchell County Schools to come and speak about their program. You know, where we have funded them for their workers.
Their second, they will do another they will send another impact report to Brandon.
In
At the end of December would be the end of another quarter, so we would have had at that point two impact. So after we get the second impact report from them, then it might be a good time for them to come. They would have done two, they would have done 6 months. Then they might be a good time for them to come do a presentation or report to you and let you ask questions.
Well, from what I'm hearing, you know, from staff that works in the school systems and from individuals, this thing has, how do I put this? There was a great need. These folks are working with a lot of different situations that are affecting our young people. And they're able to assist in a positive way. So I think, you know, from what I'm hearing, this has been a much needed thing and the money, in my opinion, was money very well spent.
And I think that I included, in your board package last time, Dan, but did I include the impact statement last time?
You did, and I think it's in this one too.
Okay, yeah, they were very willing, Angela, that's who I kind of worked with, and Atkins, and she was very willing to come and do a presentation for you guys. They, with that first impact statement, I think they were kind of getting their feet
Mhm.
up under them and kind of getting things going, so she said that, she thought there would be a more detailed impact statements, about, some of the actual metrics this go around. So, but she was very willing to come talk to you guys, so if you wanted them to come.
Okay. We'll discuss that, probably have it come sometime January, February. Get the board an update, that's okay, and, you know, however this board wants to proceed with this opioid funding process, we'll need to pick out
What strategy, and
that
then
you want to use.
Yeah.
Agree on it as a board, present it, let Brandon have that, do the ground running, then, sometime February, March, you open it up for one applicant, two applicants, however many applicants will come in that fit that scenario that we pick and make a presentation to the board in person.
Ultimately, we're gonna vote on the strategy we use and the people we're gonna. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that. I know we have to pass what's called a spending authorization.
But that's gonna be
The
once
actual,
you
yes.
decide what you wanna do.
So I'm not sure if
Yeah.
we've kind of already voted on this.
You already picked A, so.
Yeah.
So
And then
he,
that's when the people that fall in their
Strategies
categories
is
can come and
fine.
do their presentation.
I think the main thing is decide kind of what strategy, and then who fits that strategy, because we're a small rural county, so some of those strategies. We would struggle to find folks to be able to fit, and some of them may only have one or two that could do it, but once you kind of narrow it down to the strategy and then who can meet those needs. We could get them to draw up a scope of work with some funding proposals, and I can send that into core and get guidance, make sure it fits, what we want to do. Then we pass the spending ordinance and go from there.
Well, I know it's a different time, it's holiday season, let's, you know, if you think we can pull it off in January, let's do it in January, but then let's back it up to February, but that's. Not, yeah, let it, what were you going to say?
Number 6, early intervention is still my number 1. Out of all 12, 12.
Mhm.
So early intervention is still my number 1.
And you may have that currently going on with what's in the school system.
But I
That's
just,
what we funded that under. And just a reminder, there's it's a conflict of interest.
Yes, there is.
So just keep that in mind. I know you guys serve on a lot of boards.
You know, 6 and 12 are mine, I'll just say it right now, that's. Do I have to do 1 or 2? Just 1?
you can do as many as you want, I think, depends on what the board votes
Well,
on.
my choices would be 6 and 12. 6 is.
Early intervention.
Early intervention, 12 is really entry programs.
Yeah.
Of course, if there's any conflict, we'd have to sit out on one.
Well, there will be for you and I.
Yeah,
On
we
one.
discussed that last week.
Yeah.
I think 3 would probably fit a lot of stuff, the recovery support, and that's pretty broad.
Well, if I had to rank them up, I'd go 6. 1. 3. And 12. With top, and maybe because they're both in the same lane, so. You know, if we can get to them early and get them from. Going down this path, then you might not have to deal with the other 2, but we've already got situations where those folks are coming out that need to fit back into society. And we want them to fit back into society and have a normal life. You know, so sure did.
You want to get Steve's input and.
Yeah.
Move forward.
Yeah, Harley's is 6, yours is.
I think the 3 you mentioned, I support any of those, 6, 3, and 12.
My suggestion would be is we do need to, I'm like Jeff, we need to look at this in January, February, because I think you really want to tie this up if possible. In the March timeframe and getting ready for your budget for the coming year. You want. Hopefully, maybe have this decisions made for funding starting July 1st. So then when we're working on budget, we've already got that particular pot of money. Planned or decided.
That'd also be helpful for us, like the reporting.
Yeah.
Everything, we're not giving
Mhm.
people.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not dealing with that when you're dealing with the rest of the budget. We could go ahead and make those decisions. Let those organizations know, say by like April, if they're gonna receive funding for their projects. Under opioid funding for July 1st, so that way when they're doing their budgets for the future year, they know what their funding's gonna be. Plus, we can go ahead and put that in the budget ordinance. And go ahead and get all the funding resolutions done and be ready to
Okay.
hit the ground running in July, if that makes sense to you all.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Item 12B, Mitchell County RFQ Engineering Services for Emergency Watershed Prevention Project, Mr. County Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. A little bit of discussion about this. This is a, board, needs to give authorization for me to go out for an RFQ for engineering services. Running the EWP program. So we had been, hit by Helene, and the emergency watershed protection does stream bank restoration and does some gravel sediment bar removal out of streams. So it's gonna get our streams more, hardened from future flooding. We want this program moving as quickly as possible. So by doing the RFQ and getting the authorization for this RFQ to move quick, when the funds are ready, we'll already be ready to, select the engineering services. These are, federal funds, and part of this process is that it runs through the county, but the Soil and Water USDA Mark Burge crew will be doing most of this. But it is how it runs in a disaster. We put in a request like week 2 of Helene for EWP services. And now they've done scoping of the projects. We probably have about a potential of about $10 to $15 million of EWP money that could come our way depending on what projects are approved. We feel very confident that we probably will be in that 5 to 7 million at a minimum. We're excited about this because this is something that really benefits our citizens as it relates to flood risk. So, just needing the commission board, this will not be taking any money out right now. It's just gonna be starting a process moving, and that's what this board is good to help with. So I need a vote and a second to get this thing moving.
Okay, do we have a motion for Michigan RFQ Engineering Services?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, guys. Item C, Recreation Department Advisory Board appointments. Alan, would you like to touch on that?
Yes, sir. I will talk to that one as well. So, on that, we, basically, while we were building the rec center, we had some stakeholders on that board that bylaws had changed and they were in under the old bylaws. And they were very integral in the planning and they wanted to see that project to the end. And the board gave consensus about a year ago to say, hey, let these folks move this through to the end. Well, the project is finished. And now we're going in line with the bylaws and the fact that, we have to fill those seats. So, this has brought forth some potential candidates for approval for the board on that. And so we're, needing a vote on that to move that forward. This is an advisory board, just to keep in mind. So as an advisory board, you as a commission board are the money making and the ultimate policy decision makers. But for running a rec and getting the input of the citizenry and moving projects and providing support to the recreational aspects of community life, this board has some really good selections on there. So that's a little bit about it. I know Lee is on that board if Lee wants to add some to it too. Or if there's questions too.
Yeah, if I had questions, but at the last meeting, Byron Phillips and Christy Duncan, and I think Brittany McKinney, is that right?
Yeah.
Those three either indicated they wanted to resign and come off the board. It was their time. After the rec center has been built, and they've got the rec board. And Brock and Ryan came up with 3 names to present for tonight. They're Chris Pittman, who works, y'all know, through the funeral home. He has been in rec sports and sports program for most of his adult life. Misty Silvers was another recommendation, and then they wanted to have somebody with a medical background. And Lindsay Edwards was the recommendation. All 3 of these have agreed. Yes, ma'am.
Does Misty, she does the t-shirts and stuff, right, for you guys? Misty.
JCPC, I think it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or look at them.
No, you're thinking
Misty.
safe.
Self, okay, I just wanna make sure that she wouldn't be knocked out of being able to do the t-shirts.
Oh, I got you. No, that's totally different. Those 3, what we talked about, this is, again, up to the board. Commissioner appointment is annual. Johnny Silvers Johnny Wilson would like to rotate off next May, because it's really supposed to be done in May by the bylaws. So we'd be giving these 3 a 2-year appointment if the board approves. Any other questions?
Who's the third person, Chris, Misty?
Chris Pittman, Misty Silvers, and Lindsay Edwards. She works for
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Patty's daughter, right?
Yes. after COVID, they decided they really needed somebody on that, on that committee with the medical background.
Kelly, any more questions? Okay, we've had a recommendation of Chris Pittman, Mr. Silvers, Lindsay Edwards to be appointed to the rec board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Motion passes. Amended to contract audit account.
I'll talk about that for just a second. Yeah. I need to bring you up to date a little bit on what's going on. I guess some of you may or may not have wondered why the audit has not been completed this year. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on that. Normally, our audit is sent, well, in the 25 years I've done it, we've always gotten it in by October 31st. That is the due date with local government commission, with December 1st being what's considered late. In other words, they give you about a 30-day grace period. This year it was a little bit different. Normally, what happens is the federal government sends something out called the compliance supplement. That is what the federal government sends to auditors to tell them, this is what we want you and how we want you to audit any federal funds that your recipients have gotten. This year, it did not come out in September like it usually does. So they extended the audit due date to December 31st. First, they said December 1st, and then it went to December 31st. So we waited and we waited, that compliance supplement never came out, and the government shut down for 43 days. So week before last, when I went to conference, that was the huge topic at conference, was the fact that the supplement's not out, auditors are at a standstill, we can't audit federal money such as FEMA, any grants or anything that we've gotten that has federal funds in it. So what they decided to do was, the local government has now extended it until February the 12th. They added 43 days to the December 31st to February the 12th. Ironically, thank goodness, because they were hearing week before last that it was gonna be January before the federal government sent the compliance out. Actually, it came out Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday before Thanksgiving, might have been Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Anyway, it came out last week. So it is out, auditors are now reviewing it, and we will get started back on our audit that's kind of been on standstill. And hopefully we'll get ours finished here shortly. It's just gonna be the first time in a long time that we've not had it put to bed by now. So what happens is, at the beginning of each year, usually about February, you do an audit contract that has to go to the local government commission. They have to approve your auditor, they have to approve your contract. Okay, that contract was only good until December 31st of this year. So what we're having to do to be in compliance with local government commission is we're having to do an amendment, and we're extending this contract past December 31st. Okay, so that's all that is we're extending the current contract we have with our auditor, who is Misty Watson, and we're continuing it all the way till December the 12th, which is the actual new due date for this year. Any questions on all this? It's been an unusual year, that's all I'm gonna say about it. So just as soon as we get it in and we get our audit, then we will schedule her to come do presentation. And I would say it'll either be at a January or February meeting, she'll come do presentation, but we will definitely get it in as soon as possible.
Okay, any questions? I have a motion to amend the contract.
I'll make the motion to amend the contract.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, next thing on there is more board of commissioners meeting scheduled for 2026. I think you got it on your iPad. Is there any discussion about any of those dates?
The only date that I've seen that we probably need to switch from the 7th to the 8th in September is because it's Labor Day. I think.
Any other ones you guys see a problem with? Okay, with that noted change, let's move to September 7th to September 8th. Cause of a holiday.
Holly, what about, look at December 22nd. That's,
Well, that is the week of Christmas.
And that would be our second meeting of the month, so we can certainly, when the time comes, cancel that meeting.
cause I think that's a day that we would close early. That'd be right, I think.
Sounds right, yeah.
I mean, we can go ahead and take care of that business now. Or we can wait till the first meeting in December and officially cancel the second meeting of the month. Then, that's however you guys wanna handle it.
You know, you will, you don't say you will, you may have a new board or a new board member or something that may want a second meeting, so you may wanna wait and cancel it at the time.
Yeah. Okay, with noted changes, have a motion to accept the meeting schedule for 2026.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? None opposed, okay. Have a motion to accept the consent agenda as stated.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? And we'll move on to finance officer's report.
The only thing I'm gonna say is you don't have first of the month reports. Today is the first of the month. And we're working on those, but systems are not running 100% right now. We are doing a little bit slower than normal, so we don't have those out yet. They'll be out probably more like Wednesday or Thursday this week. So I will, we'll get those emailed to you sometime later this week and put a copy in your mailbox for later, but I'll, that's the only thing I don't have anything else to report on right now.
Thank you, Moots. County manager, your reports?
Thank you, Chair. So, want to go over a little bit on our EMS startup. The county will be, beginning EMS ambulance services, starting December 16th. We're still on track. We are, awaiting a DEA approval. We think that's going to come, but, we're moving in that direction. So let's talk a little bit about some of the, new hires. Got a summary from Human Resources on the number of candidates interviewed and job offers sent. So this is kind of neat thinking, you know, we're starting up and one of the things you need is you need some buzz on it and you need a lot of folks wanting to come and work for you. And so for our EMT positions, we had 46 applications received. And you think about that in its labor, we did 41, I'll say we, Mavis, Landon did 41 interviews over the last, let's say probably mostly 3 weeks. 4 more interviews to be conducted. We've sent out 36 job offers. We've had 26 job offers, accepted. We have full-time of, 20 people right now, part-time of 6. For the administrative support position, we had 8 applications, 5 interviewed, and we did select a candidate to start today. We've been getting a lot of good feedback on that. So EMS is moving, it's moving in a good direction. We have 2 new trucks that we are still hoping we're gonna get those by December 16th. Cause the old ones need a lot of work done on them. So we're hoping to get those and it looks like we are, but I'm not gonna say for sure till I see them sitting in the parking lot. So that's some good news on some EMS stuff. So that startup's moving forward. It's been a heavy lift. Landon's been doing a great job. Glenda's been doing a great job. And we also have made job offers to the team leaders. There'll be 3 team leaders to cover the various shifts. So we're starting to get us an EMS set up over here. So that's really good. So let's talk debris. The world I've lived in. I don't know what I'll do when that's not a topic for a county manager report. So here's some good news on debris. I talked to Jarrett Gideon with the state debris removal program, and that is who's now taking over the debris, is the SMART program where your county tax dollars aren't reimbursing off that, it's state money reimbursing. They told me Wednesday morning called and said they are now got FEMA authorization through environmental review to get into the water here in Cane Creek and start doing some silt removal. He said that they're gonna be looking to move stuff, and this is what he said Wednesday. It's next week, so this week I expect to see a piece of equipment in that water. Now, I'm not gonna bet the farm on it, but we're gonna hope to see it. But it's moving in a good direction. We hope on that. PPDR, we sent 450 packets. I'll say the Debris Tech has sent 450 Mitchell County packets to FEMA for pre-approval. They still have not been sent back. We are still waiting on those. When I talked to the fellow about silt in Cane Creek, we also went over PPDR, and it's still waiting FEMA approval. That it's still planning to go forward. It's just a very slow process. And that's not just Mitchell County, that's all the counties that are running this program. The state has decided they don't want to risk having to pay if a audit turns back a FEMA packet that does not meet criteria. The state would have to pay it back in full. They don't want to take that chance. Therefore, they clean such a big disaster. They feel like, they could lose tens of millions of dollars if FEMA comes in with a tough audit. So therefore, there's pre-approval going on for PPDR. Maybe that'll make the back end move a little quicker, though. That'll maybe close out quicker. We'll see. I'm not optimistic on that, but some grants. I was in the world of grant applications last week because I had two deadlines. We had an OSBM grant for projects that maybe did not have FEMA eligibility that the county needed. I put us in for an EM facility, being that our one that we had here at the old Joe Ledford property that we were renting was basically under 6 foot of water. That's where EM storage and an EM office facility was at. We had a lot of our EM equipment washed away down there. So I'm asking for approximately 1.5 million to get an EM facility. It's, you just keep writing grants and maybe one will stick, but I put that into two different, one EM and OSBM for that. Also at equipment, I paired that off different, an equipment facility for storage. I put that on a grant. We also, through the EM grant, we talked about flood mitigation and silt removal. I did one for studies for approximately 125,000-ish. And then I had another one for 500,000 to where we would do studies, permitting, and remove select silt in creek. Silt is part of my 3 F's. It's a debris connoisseur. You start going into the F word. I got 3 F's: fire, flood, and freeze. So one of the 3 F's is flood, and we're wanting to get that silt out of the creek. And don't tell me what the 4th F is. I don't think we can say that in this meeting. So getting on over to the fire, we're looking for a chop and drop. I actually got a grant proposal ready for that when it comes open, but we're wanting to be able to cut some of that firewood, get it in contact with the ground so it'll soak up water. So we're still looking on fire mitigation. We did get a report from the governor's task force earlier this week, which I forwarded to some of you all, talking about some of the mitigation. And a lot of that is having assets available. The state is looking to fill positions and have assets available for wildfire season as we come up on that. That is encouraging to know. That's encouraging to know that they're on the front end of that. We want to see some more money come in that we can start getting the high risk areas for fire took care of. So the citizens know that that's on there. And then we got freeze. We're coming up in the winter, And so you can lose trees and more trees down with freezing. We have an ice storm, and you also have your citizens that are fragile and could be freezing, you know, if their setups aren't good. I know our long-term resilience group has put a real focus on getting insulation in folks that are still living in campers. And we do have that here in Mitchell County. We still got folks that are have a compromised home that might be getting going through a rebuild or a repair. And so that has been also done. And there are our emergency management is ready to stand up should there not be a facility. I know the Methodist Church has been open for some of these cold nights. So the Beacon Center. So, you know, we're keeping that in mind as we go into this cold season. I'm very proud of our emergency management team of three. All three of them back each other up. All three respond. All three are able to be a little bit more on edge and ready. And that's what we want, that we need quick deployment of our emergency management assets for whatever it be, whether it be the fire, the flood, or the freeze. That's what the emergency management team is ready to take on. Finally, just wanted to talk about projects. We've got the LPA. We don't talk about it. We have a license plate agency. You know, that project ended this year. That's another project and building that's come to be finished, and that is working flawlessly out there. It's they're passing their monthly audits, and the team out there are very proud of the work they're doing. That has become you don't wait when you go out there now. You can go out there and get business done. We have enough staff to cover. So LPA, little shout out there. Of course, the law enforcement center, you had a ribbon cutting. There's another completed project. So, you know, it feels really good to see a completed project in Mitchell County. So now you got a law enforcement center that'll be there for years to come. We got a rec center that has just been finished, and it's already seeing positive feedback in the community. I know over Thanksgiving, a couple get-togethers, I was talking to people, said, man, I really like that rec center. We're using it. And so it is something that your citizens, your tax-paying citizens have an option on these cold days to get some exercise, to get some good health. And, you know, we're still building on some FEMA money for our field that are both our fields that were damaged in the storm. You're probably gonna see those projects moving forward. We had about 2.2 million through FEMA for doing field restoration, flood mitigation, flood repair, facilities repairs around that floodplain down in there. So we've got some more projects, but now think about this board. I'll have you look at it like this. Think about what we're gonna look like this time next year. You're gonna have some things coming back. We're gonna start seeing some recovery, and that's exciting when you start seeing the things start getting built back. Still looking on some Bowman stuff. I did turn in some Bowman things for grants. And final thing I want to talk about is we had the FEMA regional person come through about a week ago. About Wednesday last week, he made a surprise visit. It was Rob Ash, and he had the federal coordinating officer with him. And he basically was, you know, letting us know, hey, if you got a few projects and you're not getting good movement on them, let me know. You can put them on my radar. We'll have the federal coordinating officer coming back through on a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting with us. I think this coming Wednesday. You know, we're going to be, you know, we're Team Mitchell County, and right now, you know, there's sewer plant over in Spruce Pine needs a little nudge, and I think we're going to help give that a nudge because that is it's needing a little bit of FEMA help on that. Of course, we're always looking at one of the things we said from day one is our debris bill. So in the short time we had our debris from about October 15th through about July 15th on roadside debris. We got some money up front, but we still were down about 13.5 million thereabouts that we're trying to get back in FEMA debris reimbursements. So we made sure that our FEMA folks know that we're still very much in the storm recovery And so Thursday, we'll have a debris meeting at 1, I think it is, Mavis, I think I got that, yeah, so yeah, we have a team here in the office that's, always in the midst of it. And so, the debris of many times, so, I'll conclude the meeting, and once again, I want to thank this board and, this, management of Mitchell County. The folks around me that's helped me as I've come to be a new county manager over about 3.5 years. Their support's been just huge to help me, get the knowledge base up. I had Lloyd in there, cussing me and teaching me all in one. I've had mates basically doing the same. But I've come under some old school teaching that's really helped me a lot as we do that. And, Board's also been really good and helpful to have a good county attorney beside you that can keep you navigating correctly. And of course, just great commission boards along the way. I can't say enough about that. And yeah, I got that county manager, award for the high country, and I'm very humbled by getting it, and I'm speechless in very many ways. But I always say, you're a product of the team around you. And from commissioners to, staff here, it's, very much a team effort, and it's their award just as much as it is mine. And that will conclude my county manager report.
Board comments, Harley?
You sure you don't have anything else about debris?
No, just the 3 Fs.
Okay. I would like to say that I didn't get the opportunity to say why I didn't vote, for you to be the chairman, Jeff, and earlier, I've been very disappointed, with the lack of communication that I've seen as you being the chair. And so it is my hope that if you are gonna be the chair for the next year, that we can see an improvement on that. And so I don't know if that is amongst all board members or that is just what I see from my standpoint. But congratulations on being the chair, and I hope to see more communication from you as the chairman.
Lee,
I have no comment.
Bones,
Just congratulations again to our county manager. We're very fortunate and blessed to have him.
and, we'll probably have the meeting on the 18th to tidy up some EMS stuff. Alan, I did have a situation, a couple of emails about all these signs and different things on telephone poles. I'm concerned about that. Probably I'll go ahead and address the situation face to face while we're all sitting here. I have some issues and I won't make those issues public on how you've handled certain situations while you've been on this board. Okay. I don't feel comfortable talking to you on the phone or in private or communicating with emails. I'll be happy to meet with you, with county manager or someone else in the room. But your prior actions, especially with, tape recording the conversation you had with the recreation director, I don't appreciate that. And basically, I'm not gonna be caught by circumstance with you.
And
So,
if I didn't have to cover my comment as a female, because this is, okay.
motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.